Good morning, everyone. This class is designed to help you move into your day in a very gentle way to start to stretch the body out and get your blood flowing so that you can move forward into your day feeling energized and relaxed all at once. If you're used to working with props, you might want a blanket, 2 blocks, and a strap. If you don't have those things, it's fine. We're going to start out lying down on our backs. So just make your way onto your back with your feet about hip width apart, knees bent, soles of feet on the ground. And just take a few deep breaths there. Feeling yourself relax down into the ground with every exhalation. And then one leg at a time, slide your legs out straight. Reach your arms over your head, stretching your arms and legs away from each other so you get a nice full body stretch. And then you can reach from side to side, reaching the right arm, right leg away from each other. And then the left arm, left leg away from each other, moving from side to side. And then making your way back to the center. On an exhale, float your arms back down by your side. And then one leg at a time, bend your knees, bringing the soles of your feet to the ground. Draw your right knee in toward your chest, clasping around the shin and just gently pulling that thigh toward you. And then clasp behind your right thigh, begin to straighten that leg any amount. Bend that knee, bring the sole of the foot to the ground. Draw your left knee in toward your chest, clasping around that shin, gently pulling that thigh toward you. And then clasp behind the left thigh, beginning to straighten that leg any amount. On an exhale, bend that left knee, bring the sole of the foot back to the ground. And then roll yourself to one side. Push your hand into the ground to gently bring yourself back up to a seated position. You can sit on a blanket here if you like, especially if you tend to kind of sink back when you sit. A blanket can make it much more comfortable. Bringing your hands to your thighs. Let your eyes close. Bring your attention back to your breath. Nice, slow, deep, even breaths. And then on your next inhale, float your arms up. Take your right wrist with your left hand and then just gently lean to the left, keeping that right sit bone grounded so you get a nice stretch all the way through the right side of the body. And then on an inhale, make your way back up. Take the other wrist, leaning to the right, keeping that left sit bone grounded so you don't have to lean far, just enough to feel a stretch all the way through the left side of the body. Inhale up. Exhale, release your hands, float your arms down, clasp behind you, and begin to gently reach up. Release your hands, bring your hands to your thighs, rotate your shoulders, nice, slow, big circles. And reverse. And then relax your shoulders. Make your way to your hands and knees for cat-cow. Take a deep breath in. As you exhale, let your tailbone drop down toward the ground, and then your spine rounds one vertebra at a time. Head comes down at the end. Reverse that on the inhale. Tailbone goes up, spine goes down toward the ground, one vertebra at a time. Chest and head lift at the end. Continue with your breath at your own pace. On your next exhale, make your way into child's pose, stretching your arms in front of you. And then walk your hands over to the right, bringing your torso toward your right leg, taking your left hand over the right hand. And then you can drop your head down between your upper arms. Walk back through the center, over to the other side. This time taking the right hand over the left, letting your head drop into your upper arms. Walk your hands back to the center. Take a deep breath in child's pose, feeling the breath expand through the back of your ribs. And then make your way up to your hands and knees. Tuck your toes. Come to downward dog. Once you're there, you can alternate bending knees, reaching that opposite heel down toward the ground. And then straightening both legs, coming into the full pose. walk your hands back toward your feet. And then bend your knees, roll yourself up to mountain pose. From here, we'll come to Prasarita Padottanasana. If you like to use blocks for this, you can put your blocks right in front of you. And we'll all face the long end of our mat, stepping our feet out wide. Legs are parallel. Let's have the hands on the hips. Take a deep breath in. As you exhale, tilt forward, bringing your hands to blocks or the ground. You can also use the back of a chair, anything that's stable. And then if you're on blocks, you can adjust them as needed, but don't be in any rush to get down to the low blocks or to the floor. Especially in the morning, if you're doing this morning practice in the morning, our bodies tend to be much tighter in the morning. So be kind to yourself. Don't force anything. And then having your hands right beneath your shoulders, ground that left hand into the ground. Reach up with the right arm, giving yourself a little twist to the right. Exhale, bring that right hand back down. Grounding through the right hand, reach the left hand up, giving yourself a little twist to the left. Bring the left hand down. And then you can move your blocks out of the way. Walk your hands around to either side of that front foot. So you come into a lunge. And then lower the back knee. Lower the top of the back foot. Sink your hips forward. If this isn't comfortable for you, you can come up onto blocks. You could put blocks underneath your hands. If you need a deeper stretch, you can walk your hand to the inside of that front leg, coming down onto your forearms and sinking those hips a little further down. If you folded forward, walk your hands back, bringing yourself up. Taking your hands to either side of that front foot, tucking the back toes, straightening that back leg, and then stepping back to downward dog. Step the other foot forward into a lunge. Lower that back knee, lower the top of the back foot. And then again, you can stay here, keeping the hands on the ground. You could bring your hands onto blocks, or you could walk that front foot to the outside of the mat a bit, taking that hand to the inside of the leg. And then coming down to the forearms if that's available to you. So any version of this that feels like you're getting a nice stretch through the front of that back thigh, through the quads on that back leg. On an inhale, walk your hands back if you folded forward. Tuck those back toes, straighten the back leg. Step back to downward dog. And then lower your knees. Come back to child's pose. Feel the breath moving through the back of your ribs. On an inhale, come back up to your hands and knees. Tuck your toes. Downward dog. And then let's bring the right knee forward for pigeon pose. Sinking your hips down, you can support with a block or a folded blanket under that right hip if it doesn't come down to the ground. And then when you're ready, you can fold forward, bringing your head to your hands, or you can stretch your arms straight out in front of you. You can stay there, or you can lift your head and chest, walking your hands back, getting a little bit of a back bend, letting the shoulders relax. And then tuck your back toes, step back to downward dog. Bring your left knee forward, sinking your hips down, supporting under that left hip with something if it's up off the ground, just so you don't create any tension through the knee joint. We don't want to do that. On an exhale, folding forward, bringing your head to your hands, or you can reach your arms straight out in front of you. You can stay there, or you can walk your hands back, lifting your head and chest. From here, we'll move right into Ardha Matsyendrasana, half Lord of the Fishes. So you're just going to shift your weight over to that left hip, bring that back leg around, standing the right foot on the other side of the left leg. I'm going to switch my legs and turn to face you, just so I'm mirroring you, but you don't need to switch legs. You stay right where you are. Your right leg is on top, left leg is on the bottom. See if you can stand that right foot down on the ground rather than kind of being up on the edge, the outside edge of the foot. If it doesn't happen, that's fine. You can just stay on the outside edge of that foot. And then sink your sit bones down so you're level on both sit bones and you're not leaning into one more than the other. And then inhale your left arm out to the side. Exhale, wrap around that right shin, twist, and just take your right hand to the ground behind you, trying to keep the spine perpendicular to the ground. Exhale back to the center. Just lean back on your hands and switch your legs. So now the left leg's on the top, right leg on the bottom. Inhale your right arm out to the side. Exhale, wrap around, twist. Exhale back to the center. Now let's take our legs out to the side for Upavishta Konasana. I like to use blocks here, so that's an option if you'd like to do that. You can also have your hands behind you, helping you sit upright, or they could just be on the ground right in front of you. If you're using blocks, have them shoulder width apart. Bring your hands to your thighs and then just gently engage your quads so that the legs are straight. You don't want to grip them, and especially if you're hyperextended, watch out. Don't let those heels snap up off the ground. It's just a gentle engagement so you're straight through the legs. Deep breath in. If you're folding, fold on an exhale, keeping the chest and shoulders open here. And then taking your time. Always moving with awareness and feeling what's happening through the body as you move more deeply into a pose. If you feel things start to tense up and fight you, come up out of the pose a bit, take a few deep breaths, see if you can get the muscle to relax a little bit, and then ease your way back in. Forcing doesn't work. Just be gentle with your body. On an inhale, walk your hands back, bringing yourself up. You can move your blocks to the side. If you have been using blocks, just move them off to the side. Reach to the outside of your legs. Bring them in, straighten them out, and just rock them from side to side. You can shake them out a little bit. And then we'll come to Baddha Konasana, drawing the soles of the feet together, knees out to the side. And if your knees are up off the ground like this, sometimes it's a lot more comfortable just to put a little support under the knees. Taking your thumbs right beneath the balls of your feet. And this might be good right here. You might be feeling enough of a stretch right here. If you want to move a little more deeply, you can start to fold forward on an exhale. Again, being so aware of what's happening in the body as you move more deeply into the pose. So you're really paying attention to the body and working with the body rather than trying to force it into something it's not ready for. If you fold it forward, on an inhale, make your way up. Reach to the outside of your knees. Bring your knees toward each other. And then just step your feet out a little bit wider than your hips. You can lean back on your hands and then just gently move your knees from side to side. And then make your way back to the center. From here, we'll make our way down onto our back. If you have a blanket, you might want a blanket for Shavasana. So have that within reach so you don't have to move very far to grab it. And then coming down onto your back. Once you're there, take a few breaths, feeling yourself settle into the ground again. And then bring your right knee back in toward your chest. Clasp behind that thigh. Begin to straighten that leg any amount. And then bend your right knee. Bring your right ankle over the left knee, moving that right knee forward a bit. You can stay there, or you can lift that left foot up off the ground, clasping behind the thigh, gently drawing that thigh toward you. Right foot is flexed. And then release that left leg. Bring both feet down to the ground. Take a breath there. And then bring the left knee in toward you, clasping behind that shin. Straightening the leg any amount. And then bend that left knee, take the left ankle over the right knee, move that left knee forward a bit. And you can stay there, or you can pick that right foot up, clasping behind the right thigh, and then gently drawing that thigh toward you. And then release that right thigh. Bring both feet down to the ground. One leg at a time. Bring your knees in toward your chest, clasping around your shins, rocking from side to side. And then coming back to the center. Release your legs. Bring your feet to the ground, one leg at a time. And then slide the legs out straight. Coming back to our full body stretch. Reach your arms over your head. Stretching your arms and legs away from each other. If you have a wall right behind you, you can grab your elbows. And then bring your arms back down by your side, making your way into Shavasana, supporting however you like. So if your back is feeling a little bit cranky, it's sometimes nice to put a rolled blanket or a bolster under the knees. You could put a rolled blanket under your neck or head. And then just release control of your breath, letting yourself sink more deeply into the ground with every exhalation. Releasing completely into Shavasana. Keeping that sense of stillness through the body, slowly begin to deepen your breath. And then gently stretch yourself out. Bend your knees. Roll yourself to one side. Take a few breaths there before you come up. And then gently make your way up to a seated position. Bringing your hands together. Namaste.